Hey, Pin Dude here, and welcome back to My Vintage Pinball. This video is a workshop update for December 2018. It's the after Christmas episode. Uh, this past week I have gotten like no pinball stuff done. It's been all Christmas preparation and Christmas stuff. What we'll do in this episode is I'll go over some of the stuff I got for Christmas, some of the tools, and other various stuff that pertains to either pinball or retro gaming in general. I'll go over. I also have a new piece of shop equipment that we need to install, so that'll be a fun little project. So that's what we're going to get done in this video. Coming up next time, we'll finally get to the next update of the pinball restoration update on the 1979 Gottlieb Countdown. I have the insert board all set to paint, and I just have not had the time to do it. I also have the wiring harness sitting next to me here under a towel. I've already started to clean it and started working on repinning the connectors, but I will be back to full bore hopefully this week to do that, at least till the weekend, which is New Year's. So hopefully I'll have that video up. If not this weekend, because it's New Year's Eve weekend coming up, sometime the middle of next week I hope to have that video up. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, let's do our workshop update, the after Christmas episode for December 2018. And let's see some of the stuff that I got for the workshop for Christmas. All right, so before we get started here, I just hope everybody had a great holiday yesterday. And if you got something cool for Christmas for your pinball workshop or for pinball or retro gaming or whatever in general, leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. All right, so to start off, I got this really cool solder. It's basically a solder tape dispenser. I've seen these before, but I think this is like 10 or 12 bucks. It just wasn't on my radar for something I wanted to spend. But I got it for Christmas, and it's really cool. You put your solder roll on here and thread it through. So now you can just leave this on your workbench all the time, and as you need solder, you just pull it out. Really cool. So this is the Weller model SM1 solder mate. And like I said, I call it the solder tape dispenser. It's really cool. And you can actually have more than one roll on here. And as you see, I have no solder left. I just got done rebuilding my 4-switch Atari 2600 console. And I really don't have any solder left. This is a reel of Radio Shack 6040 solder. I've had this for, I mean, who knows how many years I've had this roll. So this morning I needed to order some solder, and I wanted to get the Radio Shack stuff again because I've been using it so long. And I did find out that RadioShack.com does still exist. And if you spend $19 or more, it's free shipping. So I ordered 2 rolls of this. This is a 6040 rosin core solder. The diameter is 0.031, so it's really thin. It works really good for working on pinball circuit boards and stuff. And this is an 8-ounce roll, and they are $15 on RadioShack.com, which is pretty good price. So I got 2 rolls, so I should be good for a long time. So if you do need solder, check out RadioShack.com if you're interested in the Radio Shack solder. All right, so here's the next cool little workshop tool I got here. This is a sanding block, but not just your ordinary sanding block. Let's get this open here. This came from Amazon. These don't cost very much. So, my normal sanding block's right here. It just uses regular sandpaper, and it's rubber. So this one is for, you can use round paper. So you can use, the same sanding paper you use for your orbital sander can go on here. It wraps around. You see the Velcro is wrapped around the side here to use this kind of paper. So this is great because I always have a whole crap load of these laying around because I use my orbital sander quite a lot for pinball cabinets and stuff. So this is really neat, and it does not cost much, and it's really light too. It's some kind of rubber. It's rubbery, but it's really light. And the Velcro looks like it's on there good. It looks like it'll hold up good. So definitely check these out on Amazon if you have a lot of these papers laying around and you need the sanding block that goes with it. All right, so I got another one of these Heiko micro cut-in pliers for electrical work when you're doing cap kits and you know, chip sockets and whatever. These are by far the best micro cut-in pliers I've ever owned. Once again, the brand's Heiko. These go for like $5 or just under $5 on Amazon. So if you don't have these, definitely get these and buy two. They're so cheap, and they do wear out. And that's I guess why I got another set for Christmas. This set I've had for quite a while, and it's got quite a bit of wear in the teeth. It's still working for me, but you know, they will get to the point where they won't cut real good, and I'll throw these out, and then I will unbag these new ones I got for Christmas and start using these. So once again, Amazon Heiko micro cut-in pliers, just under $5, I believe. And you might be able to get a better deal if you buy, you know, 2 or 3 at a time. So check those out. All right, so I got a multi-tool. I've wanted a multi-tool for quite a while. So this is a Gerber, and this is Gerber's the brand, and the model is the suspension. So the Gerber suspension multi-tool. It's really nice. So you open it up and you have your pliers, and then you have all your other attachments. In the handle here, there's a little saw, a little flat blade screwdriver, a little Phillips head screwdriver, of course your standard pocket knife. And then there's you know, a couple other tools here, and then the really cool, there's a little pair of scissors in here. So open that up, and you got a little pair of scissors. So quite a few tools. I forget how many are in here, but I really like it. Not quite the quality of, say, a Leatherman, but it's close, and these are quite a bit cheaper than a Leatherman. So I am quite happy with it. And I've, like I said, I've been wanting a multi-tool for a while. It's nice to have one of these. It's really nice to have it on your person, which is why they give you the little pouch. But that requires you wear a belt, and I do not wear a belt. So I'm going to look into, in the next week or so, coming up with a way that I can carry this on my person comfortably without having to wear a belt, and still have it with me all the time, because it is great to have these. And I also got a bunch of pegboard accessories. You can never have enough of these. If you have a pegboard all in your pinball workshop like I do, it doesn't matter how many of these kits you buy, you will always run out of the piece that you need. So it's great that I got more of these. I also got a couple brackets, real nice brackets too, a little too fancy for my pinball workshop. But these would be great for making a little shelf. I typically, whenever I come across these cheap, I will buy these and keep them in stock. Because I'll always need to add a little shelf here or there for something that I add to the wall in the pinball workshop here. These are great too. These are for screwdrivers. So really happy to have these, and we're going to be using some of these today as I'm doing a little bit of reconfiguring in the pinball workshop today. All right, a couple more little tools here. These are Black & Decker nut drivers that attach to your quick connects, like on your impact driver here. So these are really neat. I actually didn't have a set of these yet. I just used the little adapter and then used my regular socket sets, but these are neat. And then here's something. I have broken a ton of these, not necessarily on pinball, but this is a little 8-inch pry bar. And typically these only come like when you buy a set of 3 pry bars. You got the real long pry bar, and then the medium pry bar, and then this little 8-inch one. I break these all the time. I work on cars as well. And this is Hyper Tough. This is the Walmart brand. And I have a bunch of Hyper Tough stuff. I like it a ton better than, say, Harbor Freight. You know, it's I find it to be much better quality. It's also made in USA, which is much better than anything you're going to get at Harbor Freight. And I looked this up. It's only $6 or $7. So these do come in handy in pinball when you're working on cabinets and stuff, cabinet repairs and stuff. I use this a lot to, like, if you have a loose corner on the cabinet, I kind of jam this into the joint to open it up some so I can get the glue inside. So they come in really handy, and it's great that they're becoming available again, because I know in years past, unless you were going to get a real quality one like an OTC brand, which was really expensive. The only other way to get like a cheap one of these was to buy the set of 3 pry bars. So I have like a whole bunch of the longer pry bars because I bought the set so many times just to get this 8-inch one. So that's really cool. All right, so this one is really cool. If you watch my videos in the past, you know how excited I get over screwdrivers for some reason. I can't really explain it, but I really like screwdrivers. So this is Genesis is the brand, which I've never heard of Genesis, but I looked it up and it looks like it's like the cheap line for Ryobi. It looks like it's the you know, made in China or Taiwan or wherever it's made, kind of like the what I'll call the Harbor Freight line for Ryobi tools. And I looked at this up. It's cheap. It's like $22 or something. It's a 7.2 volt gun style power screwdriver with a quick connect bit, just like your bigger gun here. Like here's my Ryobi 1 18 volt system. You know, it's got the quick connect, so any quick connects you have, adapters or nut drivers or drill bits will work with this little screwdriver, 7.2 volts. So that's a little more beefy than my Harbor Freight 4.8 gun that I got a couple months ago that I've been using this thing a ton. It works great, but this one's 7.2 volts, and I think it'll work out real good for like cabinet work and stuff like that, you know, where this 4.8 volt one is a little too weak for. So let me open this up and let's see how this thing is. All right, so I just got this opened from the box, and we see it comes with these bits, which should have the quick connect, and they do. So we have 2 sizes of Phillips and 2 sizes of flat. It also comes with these drill bits, which I feel will be completely useless because I'm sure they're pretty weak drill bits, probably only good for wood. They're definitely not titanium drill bits or anything. So we'll probably just chuck these into the drawer, and I don't think I'll get any use out of these. So once again, this is a 7.2 volt pistol style drill driver. It is not a replaceable battery. So the battery's built in, and you just have the charge cord here that plugs in. So that's the only downside. You know, like I said, it's a $22 screwdriver here. So not a replaceable battery, but that's fine. I have not had too many problems with the batteries dying in these things. So if you compare it to the 4.8 volt Harbor Freight one that I got for like $7, I also saw that Black & Decker makes a ton of these style of drills, and they have a new one that looks identical to this Harbor Freight one, and I think it's like $9.99. So it's a little bigger, but it's got a much better grip on it. And the trigger looks like it's going to be a regular squeeze. Yeah, it's a regular squeeze trigger. And then you have your forward and reverse here, which is nice. It's like an impact gun style of forward and reverse. So that's real nice. And then you have a clutch, which is another real nice feature. It's got a clutch on it that you can adjust. And then you have 2 speeds, speed 1 and 2. So that's really nice, and let's see how the quick connect feels on it, because I find on some of these cheap ones the quick connects are not very good, and it'll be really hard to get the bit in and out. But no, that one comes, that's real nice. Yeah, so that's good. So yeah, I would definitely check this out if you want a little $20 7.2 volt gun. It's a little stronger than the 4.8 gun, and then stronger yet than my little 3.8 volts or whatever these are. So these I use on playfields. These I'll typically use in heads and cabinets, and also some under playfield work. And then this guy is going to work real good for cabinet work. All right, so also for Christmas, I got one of these. This is a LED panel light. It's made by Viltrix. You look these up on Amazon. I think they're like $35 or something. Now I needed another one because it's kind of dark in my game room, so when I do the video filming in there, I have one of this exact light right now, but it's not quite enough light. So I wanted another one. And these aren't just for filming. These work out really good as pinball workshop lights. You mount these on a light stand, and then they give you this little mount here. that you can mount on a light stand. I just dropped it. So you screw this onto the bottom of the light. And then you can either screw this onto the bottom of your light stand, or if you have a flash mount, a hot shoe mount, this will slide into the hot shoe mount. And then it's adjustable pivot. So you kind of pivot it on your light stand into your pinball cabinet, and it shines a ton of light. So I use these as work lights all the time, and now I have 2 of them, which is great. And because I also have multiple light stands that I can mount these on. So also in the box is another battery. This is a Sony Handycam style battery. You can find these all over Amazon for really cheap if you need extras. And then it also comes with a charger, which is good. So now I have 2 chargers. I can leave one plugged in the pinball workshop, and I can leave another one plugged in the game room, so that if I need to charge one when I'm using the light in either room, the charger's right there. So these are just little photography light stands. You can pick up a set of 2 or 3 of these on Amazon or eBay for really cheap. They're real lightweight. And then you mount your panel light on there, and you can see how bright this thing is. And then you can get this to either work in the head of the cabinet, or into the cabinet, or under the cabinet, wherever you need light. They work really good, and they're about 35 bucks. And they're not super durable like a workshop light would be. So you do have to be careful. You don't want to drop it or anything. They're pretty cheap plastic. But they give a ton of light for not a lot of money. And they use these rechargeable Sony Handycam batteries. So you can get these real cheap. Buy a bunch of them. I have 2. And then 1 more came with this light kit. So now I have 3 of these Sony Handycam batteries and 2 chargers. So we'll always have good light in the pinball workshop. And the other advantage that I like to these is because they use the batteries, you don't have to worry about cords laying on the ground, you know, extension cords that you're going to trip over. And then the other thing I really like is I can just grab this, take it with me into the game room, and when I'm working on a game in there, I don't have to worry about bringing an extension cord or anything with me. I just carry this into the game room, adjust my light to the height that I need and the angle of the light I need, and then I can do my repairs in the game room, and then take this with me, come out to the workshop, and real simple and quick and a ton of light. All right, so I mentioned in a previous video that I got myself gung-ho into the Atari 2600 this month, and I have. I've been rebuilding consoles, original 2600 consoles. I just did my original 4-switch wood grain 2600 console. That is my one that I had as a kid. I got it for Christmas in 1981. I've been rebuilding controllers and buying other junk on eBay and rebuilding it. It's crazy. But for Christmas, I got the Atari Flashback 9. If you're not familiar with these are HDMI plug-and-play units that you can just plug into your TV. It has 110 games built in. So if you're a middle-aged man like me and had a 2600 as a kid, and you want to tinker around with playing some games, this is a great way to go. These are like $40 to $45. This is the 2018 model Atari Flashback 9, and this is the one to get at the moment. And you'll see, look at this cute little system. I love this. It looks just like you know, the original Atari 2600 in a miniature form. It also weighs absolutely nothing because, of course, there's almost nothing inside. But the advantage to the Flashback 9 here, these are made by At Games. Previously, they were using their own emulator for emulating the games. Now they're using the Stella emulator. So it has a SD card slot, and you can load all the Atari game ROMs on here. I currently have all 470 games that were made for the Atari 2600 between 1977 and 1992 when Atari stopped supporting the system. So I can play any game that was made on the Atari on this little unit. The only downside to this system are these controllers are complete junk. They feel horrible. I tried playing some games with it last night, and they're just really bad. It looks just like an Atari joystick, but it definitely does not play like one. So if you are interested in one of these systems, definitely go on eBay. You can get original 2600 joysticks for cheap, and even if they have a couple issues, they're really easy to repair. This plugs right into the flashback systems and works real good. Now, if you do want to play Atari games, the flashback is one way you could go, or you could get original hardware. Like I said, I still have my original 2600, which is the wood grain unit that I got as a kid. They go for about $40 on eBay, 40 to 50 depending on condition. But you can go this way. This is the Atari 2600 Junior. These came out in 1986 and were sold all the way up until Atari stopped making 2600s in 1992. And these are really cheap. You can get these for as cheap as $15, which is what I paid for this one last week on eBay. And the system works. $15. It didn't come with the cords, but you can pick them up cheap anywhere, and I have a bunch of cords laying around. It also came with one joystick. So $15, I got a console and one joystick, so can't beat that. I already took this one apart and cleaned it. It looks brand new, and I just ordered the capacitors, and the rebuild kit for these costs $9.95. Check that out. That is Console 5 is the website that sells the capacitors and everything you need to rebuild. It's just like rebuilding a pinball circuit board. You're going to be desoldering the capacitors, soldering new ones on, new voltage regulator, new power outlet, and a bunch of other stuff in the kit to refresh your 2600 to run like new. Also, the joysticks are real simple to take apart and clean the inside contacts and everything and make these work like new. So, also for Christmas, relating to the Atari, I got this. And this is really cool. So this is the 2600 Uno cartridge. So it is just like any other game cartridge for your original hardware Atari 2600, except it's got an SD card slot. So you take your game ROMs that you would use for your RetroPie or wherever you play your emulator. You put those ROMs on an SD card, plug it into this cartridge, plug this cartridge into your Atari 2600, and now you can play every game that was made for the Atari 2600. And not just every game that was made for the 2600 up till 92 when they stopped supporting the system. This cartridge also allows you to play all the homebrew games and all the hacked games that have been made from 1992 up to current, because there is still people making new games for the Atari 2600. If you have any interest in that, the place to go for 2600 information on the internet is called AtariAge.com. It is basically the pin side of the Atari community. You will learn everything you ever need to know about the Atari 2600, 5200, 7800, the 8-bit computers, Jaguar, whatever. AtariAge.com. Once again, it's the pin side of the Atari world. All right, and here's the gift that I'm really excited about, and this is my project for today. This is a new computer for the Pinball Workshop. Now, it's not a new computer. It's actually Pin Chick's hand-me-down computer that she gave me. She used to have a downstairs office, which is now my pinball game room. And she didn't need this computer anymore, so she gave me this Dell computer and this HDMI, I think it's a 21-inch widescreen monitor. So we're going to replace my old archaic computer that I use out here to look at my before pictures and to look at my pinball repair guides while I'm working on pinball machines. The computer that I'm currently using is, I would say, somewhere between 15 plus years old. It's a Dell Slimline computer that's running XP, and since XP has not been supported for many years, I can't even go on the internet with it. So when I want to look up something, I need to look up something, I'm working on a pinball machine, I got to bring my laptop out here. So now we are going to set this up, and we'll be able to get on the internet. I have it loaded up with all my before pictures from all my previous pinball repairs, plus of course the ones that we're currently working on. I'll be able to get on the internet to look up things and order parts from out here. Let's see, My pin repair guides I have loaded on here. All the pin wikis I have loaded on here in PDF form, so they're easy to get to. But we need to get this mounted, and I'll show you what my current setup is for my PC in the garage. And it's going to be a little bit of a project to get this all going, but it'll be a fun little project here on my day off after Christmas to get the Pinball Workshop a little more usable. All right, so here's the current system that I use in the Pinball Workshop to look at my before pictures, to look at the pinball repair guides, and anything else I need to look up while I'm restoring pinball machines. You see the PC is way up there, and there's a big reason for that. If you have a PC in your workshop, you do not want to put it on the floor or anywhere low. It'll just get completely, the fan will suck all the dust right into it. So when it's mounted up there, it stays really clean. I mean, it still gets dirty, but it stays a ton cleaner than it would be if it wasn't up there. So unfortunately, that computer up there, like I said, it's like a 15-year-old Dell Slimline computer. The new one is a full-size case, and I don't have enough space up there to get the new PC up there. So I have to lower my bracket here, so I need to cut a couple 2x4s and lower this by probably 2 or 3 inches to get the new system up there. And then all the cables run down here. And this is an old monitor that I got on eBay. It was old when I bought it 15 years ago or whatever, and I just hacked it apart and screwed it to the wall. So to get this new monitor to work, obviously I need to free up some space on the pegboard here, and I don't want to have to buy like any kind of mounts, because that'll cost like 30 to 50 bucks by the time I get like mounts to. It'd be nice to have like a swivel VESA mount where I could swivel this out and stuff, but you know, I got the computer for free for Christmas. I don't want to invest any more money in it. So I'm going to hack this mount apart and see what we can come up with for attaching this to the wall. And then we got to run all the cables. The keyboard and the monitor is down on my workbench below all of this. So the wiring needed to be neatened up here anyway, so that'll be good. So to get started, I'm going to pull all this old system out and modify that mount, and we'll get the new system up. So this was, once again, my old system's Windows XP, which you can't get on the internet anymore because there's been no security updates for many years. This new system is running Windows 10. I think it has about 1 terabyte of hard drive space, which is great for all your before pinball pictures. My before pictures, they're big files because I use a DSLR to take my before pictures. So more hard drive space, Windows 10, a much higher resolution and bigger monitor. It's going to be really cool. So I'll get started here, and then I'll come back and update you as we move along. All right, I've lowered that mount a couple inches, and hopefully this new PC is going to fit up there now. There we go. Nice fit. All right, now we just got to figure out the monitor. All right, I just made a little shelf here out of some scrap wood that I had laying around the shop. Nothing fancy. I measured once and cut 3 times just to make something sturdy, and I used some long deck screws to screw it into the structure, the 2x4s in the garage. So I think I could sit on this thing and it would be fine. And this monitor is not real heavy, so I think we'll be just fine. And that works out really good, and hopefully this tilts down a little. Yeah, so I think that'll work. Real nice. I usually stand right here when I'm using the computer, so it's angled towards me. So it looks real good. All right, we're getting somewhere now. I got the monitor up here, and I'm starting to cable tie all the wiring to neaten it up. I got the keyboard stand back here. I got the keyboard and the mouse on, and then the wiring goes up the wall there, neatly zip tied and screwed to the wall up to the PC. So we're looking pretty good. Just got a little bit of straightening left to do and get the workbench and the pegboard back together. And then I got to clean up this mess on the floor over here, because of course this has been quite a messy project. All right, I also got some new cheap PC speakers to use on this system. I didn't have speakers on the PC out here in the past, so this will make it a lot easier to listen to pinball podcasts while I work. I won't have to use my phone and hook it up to the Bluetooth speaker above the TV. I can just play them, stream them right on the wireless internet on this PC, and it'll work out much better. So I got to come up with a way to rig these onto the wall, so that's what I'm going to work on now. All right, so there we go. I got everything back together. There's still a little bit of work I want to do on this particular pegboard. It's just I ran out of time today. It's been a long project. I had to make little brackets for the speakers, and then I used a little Velcro on the bottom of these just so if there's any vibration on the wall, the speakers aren't going to fall off. They don't really weigh anything, so it's not a big deal. Computer mounted up there nice. All the wiring is, well, it looks like a mess, but it's as neat as I could get it. Everything's secured to the wall. Keyboard and mouse are back. Computer's up and running on the internet. Speakers work. I mounted my my new 7.2 volt drill right here, and I ran the charge cord, so it's always right here, and I have it labeled just like my 4.8 power supply. I have that labeled. So I think it came out real good. The computer is going to be great. Having this set up out here where I can have music or pinball podcasts playing while I work. So I think it came out really good. All right, so let's wrap up this video. All right, so there you have it. A little after Christmas December workshop update. Kind of went over some of the cool tools and stuff for the shop that I got, including this awesome used but new to me computer that I just spent quite a few hours actually. Probably took 3 or more hours to get that all mounted up on the wall and everything, get the speakers up there, but it works great. It's got plenty of storage space for all my before pinball pictures and all my repair guides and anything else I want to throw on that computer. That'll be great. Can listen to my pinball podcast. Gonna work out real good. Also got this pegboard a little more organized. There's a little more work to do here, but I just don't have the time. I have to get back to work tomorrow, so I need to get to bed early tonight. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We have one more holiday weekend coming up, New Year's. But I hope to get some pinball stuff done this week. Get back on that 1979 Gottlieb countdown. We're so close to starting to work on the playfield. And hopefully that game will be done and playable shortly. So stay tuned to my channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button now. If you have a question or comment, you can email me at fierodoug@gmail.com. That info is down below in the description for this video. Also, you can check me out on Facebook. It's My Vintage Pinball, starring Pindude. So that'll do it. I will see you next time, hopefully in no more than a week. I'll have another video. So once again, I am Pindude. This is My Vintage Pinball. I will see you next time.